are.
Yeah, here we are with episode 2. It seems like episode 1 was just not that long ago. Not that long ago we did episode 1. We're already at episode 2.
It's cool. Great. Garage Games TV is moving along at a rapid pace.
Eric, I like your hat.
Thank you.
I like
and
the
yours
sweater.
As well. Thanks.
I like my shirt.
Stay warm.
Pimpin' trainingthinktank.com. I think that's what it is. Training Think Tank. I don't know that they have a website yet. It's on Facebook, Max El Haj. And we are here with Brandon Phillips.
How y'all doing?
6-time games competitor. Is that right?
6 times? I wish it was 6 times. No, 4.
4? Is it 4 times?
Yeah.
What
4
else?
times.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
After it's more than 1, it doesn't really matter.
Repeat.
Where's your wheelbarrow? We've got your
thing of your
we
should have brought. It's.
I'm gonna hang that up. I think it's in the kitchen.
It's in the kitchen right now in this case. Yeah.
You're gonna hang that up. How did that even? Okay. All right. Hold on. Let's start. Let's actually do the start off here.
3 years later.
Yeah,
still catching it from that.
Wow. We might tell that story. I'm sure everybody in the CrossFit community already knows it. But so we want to talk about we'll talk about a bunch of stuff, I guess, today. But the main focus is kind of programming and really the difference between programming for a group and programming for an individual and why they're different and why as a programmer doing design it's different and why depending on what you want you may make different decisions. So
that's all good serious stuff too that we're going to be talking about. Let's start with something more fun.
Something fun, that's boring.
More fun. So Brandon, go back to your games, your first games experience. What was that like? And like just even the fact that you were going to that, did it mean a whole lot to you at the time? Because I mean, you weren't in CrossFit too long, and you were at the games.
Going out there the first time, it was really weird because that was my first time ever having like a real job. So I had, I was a school teacher going full time, and then I had the summer off. I didn't have no responsibilities in the summer, and I was still getting paid for it. And I was like, this is awesome. Ended up qualifying for the games. And I had my best friend at the time, him and his fiance, they moved out to Colorado and we're living in Dillon, Colorado. And he was like, man, why don't you just come out here and stay for me for the summer? I said, hell yeah, I'll do that. So I get in the plane, I fly out there, and I still have to train. And this is probably like 2 weeks before the game's in. And I didn't realize altitude training was going to be that bad.
Oh, yeah.
So we were at Dillon, Colorado, which is, I think, is about 9,000 plus feet elevation. So I go to their little Globo gym. They had about the size of this room. They had a treadmill in there, some dumbbells, and a pull-up bar. And I was like, I'm going to do EVA in there. So I get on the treadmill, and I take off running 800 meters. I get off, and I'm
EVA, that's pretty much the Helen on steroids, right?
Helen on steroids.
5 rounds, 800, 30 reps.
So I have this makeshift kettlebell out of some dumbbells and all that kind of stuff. And I get about 15 minutes into this thing, and I'm just laying on my back because I can't breathe, I can't operate. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm not going to make it out here at the games. And in California. So I get on the plane, fly out to California. I'm by myself. I got no friends with me. I know a couple of people from the Southeast because this is my first year there, and I hadn't really known anybody. A couple of guys from CrossFit Atlanta became friends with. And I pull up to the ranch. Literally, I get off the plane. I drive straight to the ranch. I have no cooler food. I have a gallon full of water. I think I have a couple of bananas and apples or something like that with me.
Wow.
And then that brutal first day where we have to run, do like that 7-mile run or whatever it was.
Hellish they call it a trail run, but yeah.
And then we're just sitting in the dirt. I mean, it's crazy to see where it was then to where it is now. But it was
that's the year they had the hill sprints too, right?
Yeah, that was probably the most painful event I've ever done.
Yeah,
that hill sprint was awful, but I did get a really cool picture that there was Spiel and Khalipa.
Yeah, you had a good heat. I remember your heat was Spiel and Khalipa.
We were like neck and neck, and then somehow little Spiel went
I can't
right
believe how
in
he
between
passed
us.
you guys.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
He was probably about 10 feet behind us at one point, and then at the very end he just caught us. But that was probably the most painful because they were bringing They had a John Deere little Gator taking us up and down because people couldn't walk.
Wow.
Yeah, people just laying there.
I remember everybody saying that, but I just felt like maybe it's just because it was after the trail run or like what was it like? It didn't look that painful on television. I know what hill sprints feel like, but like
it's kind of like go tell somebody to do a 400-meter sprint.
Yeah,
they'll come back like jogging, and all that. Sprint and see what happens.
Like there's a bear behind you.
Yeah, I put on a rower, sprint 500 meters. If they didn't fall off the rower with one foot stood in there, they didn't go hard enough.
You got
Okay,
good
yeah,
weights.
it's the beats. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to watch out
So
with
full
the
out,
table.
everything you got. 70 pounds? Was that with the 235-pound bags? Maybe,
Yeah, it was
something
two
like that?
35-pound bags,
Yeah, that's
it
rough.
was a pretty epic event, and that's when you got to meet like all the big names. I remember like seeing like Chris Spieler and being like, oh my God, there's Chris Spieler. And then nobody really knew who Miko was, but we knew like Rob Orlando and all those guys.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to pick at Rob, but I thought he'd be a lot taller in person than what he really was.
Aren't all CrossFit athletes like that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're mostly about 5'8", 5'9". You think you see them on TV, they look so much bigger.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You think that about all kinds of. Like I remember the first time I met, a couple of the big names or whatever, and like you said, they look so big on television. I don't consider myself a big guy, but I'm like, I'm a giant in the CrossFit world.
Yeah.
Like this
Well,
is
that's why
crazy.
Tommy Hackenbrook is 9 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why he has a
9.
3-minute Karen.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't let go of the ball.
He does.
Yeah, he
Tap.
just touches the thing,
Tap.
goes right back down.
It's a
I don't know what he
thruster.
does. Yeah, unbelievable.
Cool. That was fun. All right. So programming. what do you got on programming? What do you want to talk about, Justin? Let's hear it.
Well, no, I was just wondering. I know that obviously, being a competitor for so long. I mean, what was a natural transition for you? Have you always kind of done your own programming? I know you've done some other stuff, and did the Outlaw for a while, or do you still do Outlaw? Or
No, I still do Outlaw.
okay,
I still do
does
Outlaw.
Rudy? He does your stuff for you, or I mean,
Right now it's Spencer, Rudy, and myself. We all
Okay.
just kind of combine ideas. I kind of tell them where I want to go, what I need to work on, and then they put it together because I think way too much, and that's just something else I don't have to think about. I tell them what I want to work on, and then they give it to me.
yeah. I mean, even coaches need coaches. I've always said that.
Yep.
And I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are at programming for somebody else. It seems like you always end up sucking at programming for yourself. So,
Well, when I got back from 2009, like all we were doing really leading up to the games in 2009, I was actually following Jim Jones.
oh yeah.
Old school.
That's
Jim
who got me into
Jones,
CrossFit,
That's
man.
who got me in there.
Yeah.
Jim Jones, and I don't care what anybody says. That dude, he can program. He knows what he's doing. He's a very smart guy. I'd love to go out there and meet him someday and hang out with him out there.
Mark Twight, yeah.
Mark Twight. And then I also followed a website a lot of people probably didn't know about was Mountain Athlete. And I'm not doing promotion from them. I'm just talking about when I first started.
Yeah.
And both of them had like a free website going on at the time, and now you have to pay for them.
Yeah.
And so I don't
I
follow
remember
them
that.
anymore.
I remember that. I used to watch it because I remember I was the hardest thing to do. It was almost like he did it on purpose. For Mark's site was, I mean, it was like hieroglyphics. It was like I can't understand what does this crap mean. Like, does it mean I need to do that twice, or do I do each one twice and then go? Like, it was confusing at first for me.
Yeah.
I mean, now a little bit more into it, but 5-6 years ago, however long ago it was or whatever, it was really confusing to watch. I was like, are they doing this on purpose? So just like not anybody can look at it, like like the Dakota rings you got as a kid or whatever. It's like, all right, that's 7 reps. So
It was the Orphan Annie Dakota ring.
yeah.
That's what it was. Victor Ovaltine.
You kind of touched on something just there. It's kind of a good point. Is that now that they charge for those websites, so you don't follow them because you got to pay for those, right? So it brings up the question: when is it appropriate to someone to start paying for coaching, for personalized coaching?
Well, I stopped following their website because back then I really got into what I like to do by the time they paid for it. By the time you had to pay for it, But I got a lot of things from them. But what it takes to it, I would say probably it's going to be up to the individual. You got so many people that come into the sport and they're like, I want to do CrossFit only. And you have them come to your classes for a little while and they're doing really well. So you got some athlete that's 1 in a million. You just have that one person that really stands out. Maybe they do need to get some kind of personalized programming.
Yeah.
But for people just starting out that want to do it, I mean, general GPP programming that you see in a CrossFit class is people are going to get results.
Yeah.
For most of the people, I think the community and the group is the biggest part of it anyways.
It
So,
is.
I mean, if you're doing individualized programming, you're not going to have that. And that's the biggest part. I think is a natural progression though. Like for most people that have, a decent amount of skill level or talent or athleticism already, they start with the group programming. They're drawn in from the community, and then, like you said, they start to see improvement. They want to kind of take it to the next level, or maybe they want to try and do some competitions. So, or maybe they want to get stronger, whatever it is. And then that's kind of the natural progression. Like I need to do something more individualized because just working the 10 general skills all at once isn't working best for me.
Right.
So
that's what my buddy Matt Link and I, we actually do the programming now at Bound together for at least our team. And we're splitting that up. But when we first started out, we were just doing group classes at the gym we were at the time. And then when we got back from the games in 2009, told him it was time to up the games a little bit and up our training. So we started doing Olympic lifting, and we were literally following mikesgym.com, Mike Bergener's thing, doing exactly what he had on there. And then we would do like a CrossFit football metcon every day.
I remember CrossFit football.
Building resilience, just lifting heavy weights. And I think that was really good, and that was a key, like for at least my training, was building that kind of volume early on with lifting heavy weights.
That's a great website for anybody starting too.
Exactly.
Mike's Gym.
Yeah.
Them and maybe like Catalyst Athletics.
We followed that one
guys
too.
over there, yeah.
So we just go like from cycle to cycle, back and forth. And it was really cool. Like we noticed like Catalyst or Performance Menu, they did a lot more technical type lifts, like the snatch balance. We never knew what that was until they put it up there. Yeah. And that was the hardest movement to ever pick up, like a tall snatch, stuff like that. Like Mike didn't really put that in as much. He might do it now, but back then that really helped us out, just learn the technique of
I remember
lifting.
I remember when I first started, the first time I started looking at Greg Everett stuff, I think my max snatch was probably like 140 or something like that, and pounds, not kilos. And and I think I was like, snatch balance, well that's not the whole movement, so that's no problem. So but it was like a power snatch is what my PR was or whatever, and so I think I loaded like my max up on the bar the first time, and I almost broke my shoulder and my back and everything else. It was the ugliest thing. I think I have it on film somewhere. But yeah, like those movements, and you don't realize, how much skill and technique goes into those things. But I mean, those are both websites that pretty much anybody in the CrossFit community at this point probably already knows about.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're not any good, anymore. It doesn't mean you need to go out and find some, new thing or whatever. Right. There's still amazing sources for information if you're trying to get started and really trying to, just learn those movements.
Yeah. Exactly. And why try to learn things on your own when somebody's already been there and done it, and they know way more than we ever will? Yeah. So why not go learn from the best?
Absolutely.
And that's something we always go.
That was one of the coolest things about CrossFit that drew me to it. I felt like, they had the specialist, they had the runner, they had the power lifter. They, whenever, back when we used to read the journal or, listen to the journal videos all the time, they had these specialists. It's like, wow, I'm learning from the best in all these fields. Yeah. So I'm not just learning from some Joe Smo. And a lot of times when you go into a regular gym now, like it's just somebody that got a level 1 cert or something like that. They're definitely not specialists in any of the fields. Yeah. So, I mean, in a lot of senses, people starting out, maybe it's smarter to do it in your garage and learn from those people than from somebody who just took a 3-day seminar.
Is it 3 days? I thought it was 2.
Is it? Maybe it's 2 day. Is it 3?
16 hours.
2.
I guess when I did mine, it was a day of travel. So I guess that.
So I count that as
I totally
education.
Count that. Yeah. So, anyways,
that's funny. Well, you touched on CrossFit Bound. So there's probably people out there who don't realize that you are a gym owner, an affiliate owner. So tell us about that. That's been since just this past
April.
Yeah. Spring.
April 15th from when I opened up my doors.
Tax day. Great.
I got married April 13th.
Awesome.
So man, this year's been just nuts.
You didn't have anything going on at all.
Anything going on?
Yeah. So Brandon married Jessica Denny, who now Jessica Phillips, who
everybody still calls her Denny.
Yeah, I know that's. I realize that. So we got.
It's like marrying Madonna. What are you gonna do? It's like somebody's already got a name for themselves.
Yeah. I don't know. Take my name. So 2 CrossFit Games competitors come together. And so tell us about that between the gym and the wedding, just all the fun stuff going on.
Wait, how did you guys meet? I don't even know that. Did you meet through CrossFit?
We met through CrossFit. I actually went down to the South Georgia Throwdown, and she was down there. And I have this awesome picture because Matt Baird was down there with me. Yeah. And we were sitting there talking, Matt and I, and somebody just happened to catch this picture of Matt and I going like this, because Jessica was over there snatching, and it was the ugliest snatch I had ever seen in my life. But she was pulling that bar so fast. It was awful. She had a rounded back, nothing like she looks now, but she was just pulling, boom, boom, just repping it out. And we were over there like, oh, my God, that's awful.
Yeah.
And then nothing. We said, hey, out there, whatever. And then
walked up to her and like, hey, you've got a really ugly snatch, and I think I can help.
Yeah, I think I can help you out with that. And so then we just started talking and hanging out, and next one thing less than another, and then we started dating, and now it's history. Now we got a little boy on the way, Carson, and he's going to be here February 14th, which I think is probably going to be a little bit earlier than that because he is growing. He's a very large child right now.
Go mad.
Go mad. He's we went to go get an ultrasound the other day, actually Saturday, and they were like, "That's his leg," and it just showed. It was like
that was the whole baby.
The biggest leg they said they've ever seen on a baby.
Nice.
So it was awesome. The other day she's standing in line at the grocery store, and I guess Carson like kicked and rolled, and this guy like stopped her and said, "Ma'am, you know your baby's kicking you."
It's like a scene out of Aliens.
It's like coming around.
That's awesome.
But so now we're now that we got that going on, we got the gym going. The gym's going really well right now, and we're in Kennesaw, and we're actually like a mile away from my house, which is even better.
That's cool.
So now, this is all kind of started from bad form on Olympic weight.
Bad form.
If she would have had a good-looking snatch or clean and jerk or whatever she was lifting with, wouldn't even noticed her.
Wouldn't even noticed her.
Yeah.
It's funny. So maybe that's all you ladies out there that are looking to hook up with the CrossFit Games. Maybe just don't work on your technique.
Bad technique
instead of doing it.
That's
Get
the
them
new
to
answer.
notice you.
Yeah.
Get them to notice you.
Yeah, however you can.
That's funny.
That's probably not good advice.
I don't think so. So CrossFit Bound, you guys got a pretty good team there too, really, right? I mean,
yeah, we got a good team in training right now. We have good girls. That's what everybody needs.
Absolutely.
And, I think adrenaline's proven that over and over and over. And our guys can get by with just about anything you throw at them. Cool. And so we're going to see how it goes. They're working their butts off right now and training really hard. And they're in that gym 5-6 days a week. If they're traveling, they go to a gym wherever they're traveling at. They're really dedicated.
That's awesome.
And that's what you need out of those athletes. They cannot clean my gym for crap. Every time I go back there, there's like a special corner for them to train in. Every time I walk into the gym, it's dirty.
And doesn't that suck? Isn't that the worst about owning or being like a big part of the gym too? Like the higher up you are, the worse jobs you have to do.
Yeah,
that's true.
Like I remember I don't clean up after them. Matt left out a bar the other day or left out something, and so I posted a picture, and I was like, for every like that I get for this picture
burpee.
right here. No, it wasn't burpees. It was toes to bar.
Oh, nice.
He sucks at toes to bar.
Awesome.
And
that's good. See, that's programming right there.
You got a lot of likes.
It was like
you?
480 something likes.
I remember we played a joke. So I was with the gym down in Alabama, CrossFit Eastern Shore. Pimp those guys out. Jason Odom, Adam Pfaff. We played a joke on them a while back. Everybody was like, for every like I get, I'll do a push-up. Well, I put a piece of paper, wrote it on. I was like, for every like this picture gets, Jason Odom will do one muscle up.
Oh, Lord.
And I did it partially because I knew Jason was good at muscle ups, and partially because I knew that he was military and I knew that he would do it, even though he would hate me for the rest of my life because of it. I knew and it would be a great video. And we just started up as a gym. I mean, we had like maybe 15, 20 members or whatever. Somehow we got 103 likes. People were literally like sharing it. So we did a video. It was 103 muscle ups. Wow. And it was one of the funniest things. I mean, you just talk about just blood and oh man, it was horrible.
Did he not get rhabdo?
He didn't have. It's so funny. He didn't get rhabdo. He didn't get rhabdo. God, rhabdo.
Yeah,
my wife did though. Hey guys, this is Elise.
Hey,
actually,
Elise.
We've got in the corner. I don't know if you've seen her.
And she's still alive.
Elise,
just letting y'all know that she's still alive.
Yeah.
She's hanging out in the CrossFit gym.
Yeah, who actually works with the best podcast ever, Barbell Shrugged. Yeah, so pimp those guys out for sure. Cool guys. I'm sure we'll probably have them on here, and we'll be on. I've talked to them a couple times.
Doing a podcast.
Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? Isn't it cool how it's
like
not
a mirror,
like
in a mirror, like you look forever, right? That's what it'll be
forever.
like that.
It's kind of cool how you don't have to have competition in podcasts though.
Yeah, all we need though is a very large man like Chris Moore in here to make smart ass comments.
That is true.
Time.
Yes,
that's true. I'm gonna try and derail the show as much as I can.
Yeah.
And then hopefully Eric will bring it back around.
Yeah,
so
we'll figure that out.
We're still trying to figure out our third person to get in here because we need a third person.
A regular
typically.
third.
Yeah, a regular third. I don't know. We'll see it.
Yep.
We'll talk about
We'll
it.
have to buy another mic.
Oh God.
I know.
Expenses.
Exactly.
It's a tax. It's a tax.
Money.
write-off.
That's true.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. Tax write-off.
I'll never pay taxes again at this rate.
So back to Bound. So you guys getting the whole team together or whatever, have you found that it's helped you to be a games athlete starting up a gym, or has that not really helped? Most people in your demographic don't even know who the heck you are because you're famous in the CrossFit world, but you're not famous in the world you're trying to sell to necessarily.
Yeah, it's funny that most people that come into the gym, they really could care less who's training them, and it's not really cool to me at all, because that's telling me that people are just going to gyms and just looking at a gym, just saying, all right, I'm going to go to the gym. Here we go. Let's go. Just sign up. They're not doing their research. Whenever they go, if you want to go get the best food, you do your research, find out where the Whole Foods market is. You do that. They want to go to the best person out there.
Absolutely.
Why do any different with the gym, especially when you want to spend that kind of money, or you're willing to do that kind of money? And it's really interesting to me that you have somebody. I mean, I know I've talked to other games competitors who've done the same thing, have the same kind of experience, that somebody comes in their gym and you tell them, this is my experience. I've done this. I know how to help you out. You want to have the best training in the world. I can help you get that, and I can help you get there safely. And that's the biggest thing. And they're like, well, your price is too much. Well,
Yeah.
if you're eating, organic food, you pay more, right?
Yeah. Or if you go buy a Mercedes, people see the value in a Mercedes as opposed to a Kia.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying Kia's
Kias
a horrible
are
car. Yeah,
awesome.
Kias are good now.
This thing's got like 100,000 miles warranty.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
Come on,
right?
now.
That's
So,
impressive.
but people see that, like they say, like, oh well, this is 3 times as much money, but it's a Mercedes. But because they're not aware of CrossFit, I feel like people see CrossFit as like a McDonald's. Like CrossFit is a McDonald's. Right. It's not individual restaurants.
Yeah.
And what's negative about that is when people have a bad experience at a CrossFit gym that doesn't know what they're doing, they blame CrossFit. So if you have a bad experience eating chicken at a restaurant, you just don't eat chicken at that restaurant anymore. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you just stop eating chicken or you stop going to any restaurant.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what happens with us. And like you said, people are so used to the gym experience. Kind of that paradigm of, well, what are the amenities, how close it is to my house, and what is the price? And those 3 things, and they don't look at CrossFit gyms any differently, and they have to, because it's a completely different thing. We're not competitors with Globo Gym or whatever.
I think what's kind of cool here, now that we've been around, the garage is 5.5 years in or so, and I think what's cool here is that we've lost members over the years who we've gotten back. They've gone to some other local gym, and then they come back and they say, that the coaching wasn't as good, the programming wasn't as good. I could tell that there wasn't as much focus on all the things that I need to be focused on, and so I like seeing that. But you realize that's the long haul, right? That's not like someone's going to figure that out in their first year.
And that's great.
It's funny whenever you got another coach at a gym or gym owner come up to you and be like, hey, can you help me learn how to do this?
We were talking about that earlier. We're not going to name it. We won't name any names. Yeah. Both of us have had that, though.
Yeah.
So it's scary. It's funny, but it's scary. It makes you feel good, but it also scares you at the same time. Because like you said, somebody that went to us and then maybe for whatever reason they moved further away, and that's happened.
Yep.
So they're like, well, I'm just going to go here. And then they realize, okay, no. And then they start driving past the gym to come back to you. That's awesome. But the problem is when it happens the other way around, if somebody goes to a gym and they have that negative experience or whatever, I think a lot of people are more likely just say, screw it, I'm going to go back to back and buys, chest and tries.
Yeah.
And,
kickboxing.
I'm going to do Zumba. I'm not doing CrossFit anymore. Then you don't ever get a chance to help them experience, what they need to experience, or the good part of it. So, but whatever. Back to programming.
Yeah.
So, so at what point when somebody comes to you and they're talking about, I want to go to the games, I want to go to regionals, or I just want to compete, or what level, Brandon? Like what is it that you ask them? Do you have a testing, and do you tell people no? I mean, are you straight up with them, or do you kind of like, as far as like?
No, If somebody approaches me and they say they want to make it to regionals, they say they want to make it to the games, and or they say they just want to be like an open competitor, and that's their goal. So who am I to say that they can't achieve that goal?
Yeah.
So then I just ask them, what's your numbers? And I have like a certain workouts in mind in my head that really are a good testament to where your fitness level is in CrossFit. And just named girls, and then there's certain like endurance type activities I have on the rower, certain gymnastics numbers that I think people need to hit, and then the biggest thing is what's their Olympic lifting like, and because I've come to find out the better you are at Olympic lifting, the more it's going to transfer over to everything that you do in CrossFit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so many people take that for granted. And a lot of people are taking that now, well, it's just about your 1 rep max. No, it's about how good can you move with 80, 90%.
Yeah.
How many reps can you do in 5-10 minutes with 80, 90%, and just continuously move that weight. And so I just look at those, I break them down, and I tell them, I'm pretty honest with them. I'm like, you're here, okay? This is probably going to take you a year, 2, 3 years maybe, to reach where you need to be.
And what people don't realize is that during those 3 years, your competitors are getting better too.
Your competitors are getting better as well. So that's why I tell them. That's why I tell them though, like, you got this type of potential. Now it's a lot of thing too comes into people is like, what's their max potential? Where are they at right now? Because you got small guys. Who are we to say that small guy still can't make it to the games? You look at Chris Spieler. He was there. He could have been there last year by like 2 reps in one workout.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. And he's a small guy, but he can move 80, 90% of his 1 rep max.
Josh Bridges.
Like he can.
Perfect
Josh
example.
Bridges.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm not ever going to tell somebody they can't do something, but I will tell them the amount of work that they have to put into it. And a lot of them don't understand the amount of work that's involved with making it to the games nowadays.
Just being realistic. Saying like.
I mean, it's a sacrifice. If a young person comes up to me and I know that they're looking to get married soon, start a family or something like that, it's really, really tough when you get there. I know that now. Yeah. And but where's your free time? How much are you willing to sacrifice? Yeah. And if somebody comes up to me and they're saying, hey, I'm willing to sacrifice being here twice a day, then, hey, let's go and let's get to work and let's see how far you can push yourself. But no, it's going to be a process down the road. And that's what I think the biggest thing is like the young guys are coming in now and they just want everything now. It's kind of like this society. I want to be, it's like, I got
instant gratification.
Yeah. I want to be their friend on Facebook. Oh, we're best friends, and I'm like, it's like a touch of a button, you get everything now. And it's not like that in training. Yeah. And there's so many great competitors now that just have that same desire to make it just as much as anybody else, and it's just who's willing to put in the most work.
Yeah, I had that experience with Travis Mayer when he first came into our gym. He walked into the garage, and I was the guy there, and the first thing he said to me was, "Yeah, I'm going to make it to the CrossFit Games."
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's that's the most common response is, okay, yeah, we'll see. So come on in, let's work out. And he came in, he did a Diane, and he threw down an ab mat to be the spacer between his hands on the floor, and his head touching the ab mat. I'm like, yeah, so we got to lose that first, right? So, but then here you go. Here's a guy who actually is willing to do it. He said he wanted to do it, and it took him maybe 3 years, I guess it was, from that initial meeting. But he worked his butt off to get it. And so you see it happens, and but he was definitely an example of someone who just needed the GPP still when he walked in.
But he almost came from the get-go having somebody else kind of programming for him.
He did. Yeah, at that point he already had. He was in personal training. He had a buddy who was, trying to help him with workouts and so forth. But really at that point he had too many holes, right? That's the key, right? Someone who walks in from global world, if they come into your gym, they just got too many holes. So for now we just got to go ahead and patch them all, and then figure out what the individualized stuff is.
That's something that's important too, because you're saying how important it is for Olympic lifting, and it is so important because it translates into anything else. But I think now it's almost switched to where there's so many CrossFitters that have kind of like fallen in love with Olympic lifting, myself one of them, that they focus so much on the Olympic lifts that they that's all they do, and they're almost Olympic lifters that are doing Metcons every now and then. And I think that's a mistake too.
Sure.
And especially the ones that are doing the 1 rep maxes, because it doesn't matter if you can, if you've got a 335 pound clean or something like that. If you can only do 225, if it takes you to do 30 of them. It takes you 10 minutes to do 30 of them, then you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. The Open has definitely shown that repeatedly year after year.
Yeah, there's no 1 rep maxes in the Open. That's not going to happen.
You better be ready for some time.
You can snatch 210, that's fine, but you need to do it after 15 minutes of working out.
Yeah.
You know, at a lighter weight. So
yeah. Yep. Indeed.
So yeah. So you guys want to take a break real quick, and we'll go to the thing. We'll come back. Good day. I'm Justin Metz, and you're watching GNN, Garage News Network. Have some now. I'll drink it now if you have it. It's fine. Yeah. It's a sandwich.
It's a weird Bushmills.
The results for the Worldwide WOD are in. In third place for females, we've got Crystal Long from Centerville CrossFit. Second place is Megan Okunowitz from CrossFit Cohen. And first place is Abby McConnell from CrossFit Cincinnati. Rounding up the men's division, we've got RX at third place, Khalid Al-Jarrah from CrossFit Spartan Shield in Kuwait. We've got Chris Wade in second place from Forge Fitness. And we've got AJ Walderstein from CrossFit Centerville as well. Nice. Good job, guys. We had a huge event this past weekend in Bend, Oregon, the Oregon CrossFit Winter Games. In Hamden, Connecticut, we had the second annual True Athletic Showdown. They actually had an actual Olympic lifting meet at that competition the first day. Also, we had the Elite Fitness Society Winners Games in Anchorage, Alaska, and the results are now online. You can find that at thegaragegames.com. This upcoming weekend, we've got War of the Wads 2014 in Greensboro, North Carolina, the Battle of the Ball and Chain in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the Athlete Throwdown in Fort Worth, Texas, and the Long Island Takeover in Brentwood, New York. Most of these events are sold out. However, if you're interested in getting involved with them, you can also go to thegaragegames.com under the events page and find out more. In local news, Eric Richards beat Andy McCann in Tuesday's WOD, and Susan PR'd on her deadlift. More on these stories as they develop. That's it for today. I'm Justin Metz, signing off for GNN. And we're back. So,
Nice.
Brandon Phillips again, Dr. Eric Richards.
Yo.
What should we? Yeah, what are you? You're just
What,
a doctor.
what am I? Well, so yeah, I'm a doctor as a chiropractor, right? But what is my focus? Decades of all sorts of health information.
Beating the crap out of yourself and then
Yeah,
figuring
that's
out
it.
how to fix yourself.
I've pretty
Running
much-
long distances.
I've been my test.
Long,
yeah,
slow
I've
distance.
done that.
Long distance.
I've tested myself in many ways.
What,
And I'm very broken. I am.
we didn't. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I was actually curious because I didn't know. As long as I've known you, you call yourself Dr. Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Dr. Richards, or is it different if you're an MD as opposed to a chiropractor? How does that work?
No, I think really what it comes
It's
down
boring
to
stuff,
is
but I want to know.
why first name? Yeah, and the first name thing is really just because of the approachable nature of what we do, or what I do. So I didn't like last name because I want people to just feel
So
like
you chose that.
yeah, like
Okay.
just call me Dr. Eric. Just yeah. So it's approachable, right? So, you know, and I know people are I've got medical doc acquaintances. I guess I won't call them friends.
Like them.
No, I do. We just we don't see eye to eye in a lot of things, but I know they're jealous of the comfort that I maintain in my practice. You walk in and what am I wearing? Jeans and a t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes barefoot too. I mean, it's just complete comfort. And I got 600 people walking in and out of my doors in a week. And it's like, so I don't understand, how does this all work? It's like, we're approachable. We reach people
true.
where they are. We help them. We lead them, guide them, and everything. Right?
Are you from the South?
No.
Well, you made the
He's
transition.
from Buffalo,
well.
aren't you?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I have made the transition. Buffalo,
That's
New York.
That's part of your persona
know why
right
I know
there.
that.
I've been here 17 years. So.
You're just trying to be a country boy.
I am, actually.
Yeah,
I'm
you're doing
trying.
good. You're doing good.
Isn't
I
it
do.
weird when you go up north? Or do you ever go up north anymore? I don't know. But
Yeah,
do they call you a redneck when you go up there?
No,
they don't. See, I'm from Orlando. So then I moved to like the Memphis tri-state area or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when I moved up there, everybody called me a Yankee. Even though technically I was further south than they were, whatever. So,
funny.
but then when I go back home, everybody called me a redneck because my voice had changed a little bit. So I was like screwed either way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird.
Now, no matter where you go, they've got a name for you.
Yeah.
They're
So
gonna
talking about
stereotype you.
talking about what you're talking about, helping people and being approachable, and having lots of people come through the door. That's kind of what CrossFit's kind of thing is as far as like group training. So that's what we want to talk about next was what is the difference from group training, other than the obvious, group training and individualized programming. Like how do you approach it?
Whenever I would write programming up for my group classes, the number one concern for me is safety, and so I do a lot of low skill work in CrossFit. A lot of wall balls. A lot of wall balls.
Never come into your gym.
A lot of wall balls, a lot of burpees, a lot of kettlebell swings. I keep all the high skill work to a minimum. And for me, what I've realized is a lot that I have to spend a lot of time teaching those high skill movements before a workout, or two, I have to take a lot of time away from the actual workout during the conditioning portion to critique the high skill level. Mm-hmm. So
do you guys run a fundamentals program?
We do run a fundamentals program, but that fundamentals program is still is still just cliche because you only get to spend X amount of time. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many years have we spent working on muscle ups? How many years have we spent working on Olympic lifts?
I don't know what you're talking about. I came out of the womb doing muscle ups.
How often do we still have to go back and critique our squat? So that just keeps going on and on and on. So when I write my programming, I keep it very simple for my group classes. That way classes just move. Yeah. And I spend a lot of time at the beginning of class. I do a lot of EMOMs like with Olympic lifts, and we do complexes most of the time with it on the Olympic lifts. And slowly over time, I don't like using percentages. Because some days somebody's coming in, they move really well, they can go up on weights, and now we can go up. And if I put a percentage on that, then I'm just kind of limiting that person, especially their first time coming in. It's kind of like the whole starting strength concept, you know. They're going to get better every time they come in, especially if they're paying attention. Mm-hmm. And I do the same I almost do the same thing for my strength portions too, because I do my Olympic lifts or 3 days a week or 2 days a week. I just kind of switch it up. And then I do my strength work. We'll do like 10 rep maxes, 8 rep maxes, 5 rep maxes, 3 rep maxes. I rarely do a 1 rep max. And it's just funny. I just kind of keep a really good cycle of that going on. And people are getting really good results from it. And I just like to keep it simple. Now, one thing I did add in my programming that I do work on the high skill gymnastics, I do it after the workout. We do a lot of handstand holds, ring dip holds, static holds in the chin up position, and I found that actually builds a lot more muscle, especially upper body muscle. And it's so funny. I had one of my clients brought her boyfriend in the other day, and he's Globo Gym. And the funny thing is, I trained with that guy in college. We used to train together in the gym, man, talking about meatheads all the time. And he came in there, and like the first thing he said was like, I just don't believe in that kipping stuff, da 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 da. And I looked over at his girlfriend, and I was like, how many times have you done a kipping pull up in here? She's like, I've never kipped. And I was like, yeah, because you have not done one strict pull up right.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and she just started smiling. He looked at me, and I was like, yeah, not everybody kips. I was like, you have to be able to do a strict pull up, strict chin ups before we even allow you to kip.
That's been a huge thing. Yeah, and going back on the EMOMs, that's probably been the biggest since we implemented that. That's been one of the best things for strength that we could do, because it not only kind of builds that capacity that we were talking about earlier, but it's not as time consuming. Exactly. You tell somebody to find a 5 rep max, they're resting 6 minutes between sets, and you're like, have you done a lift yet? No, I haven't. What are you doing? And you're having to stay on them. When that EMOM, it makes it feel more like a class too. Some people have been some people that have been doing it for a long time though. I remember when we first started implementing them, they didn't like them because they were like, this isn't strength. Like this is a Metcon. Why am I doing 2 Metcons? You know, why am I stuck this time? Like, I'm gonna just rest for it. But everybody came around, and I love them.
You know, it's funny. It's like I have some of my our even competitors. You know, our competitors programming probably looks very similar to what our regular class is doing, just toned down. Just our classes are toned down a bit. whenever they're doing certain things. But even like I have certain guys that have been doing CrossFit for probably 1 or 2 years that come to my gym that are still in our group classes. They're still hitting PRs. Mm-hmm. Like yesterday we did a complex, a power clean, 2 front squats, and a jerk complex. This guy hit his old clean and jerk max for that entire complex.
Wow.
You know?
That's crazy.
And it's just crazy, like seeing that type of thing, seeing that type of progress just because his squat's gone up.
Yeah.
You know? And so many people get so caught up in the Olympic lifts that they neglect the squat. And you have to live in the squat rack. So many people walk in my gym and they know we're doing a squat that day. And we're doing some
way, shape, or form.
Some way, shape, or form. They are squatting.
Hips are going to be going down below parallel.
And it's
amazing how a squat will make your bench go up.
Oh yeah,
It's
amazing.
I mean, what? That doesn't even make sense. You're sitting down.
I have one bench in my gym, one bench,
Yeah.
and we do a ton of weighted push-ups, burnout sets, weighted push-ups, and dips.
I've noticed that,
and we do that a ton. And I had a guy come in the other day, and he repped out like 225 for 8 reps, and he said last time he did 225 for 1 rep was like 4 years ago.
Wow.
Just from doing that,
Yeah.
you know, and just so many people think that you have to do these certain things.
I PR'd. I said something about it online the other day. I PR'd my bench by 15 pounds, and I haven't maxed out on a single in like 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is that? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. People don't.
That's
they don't
awesome.
need to do that. I told their friends, like, next time they ask you what your bench press is, be like, how many push-ups you do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, just do stuff like that. Don't get caught up in that.
Yeah.
And but I'm a big fan of rep maxes, like I said, and just keeping it very generic for group classes, keeping it simple. And I don't like programming. Like, you'll never see 30 muscle-ups for time for my group classes.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that, because I just don't believe in the general population needs to be doing 30 muscle-ups for time.
What we do is typically we have a fundamentals program, but we also have a level 1 and a level 2 programming. So, and obviously, like you were saying, it's kind of like a more, like, I guess what you would say your regular class and your competitors.
Right.
And what we do, if we do muscle-ups, obviously we just program an entire different workout for anybody else, obviously within the same muscle group or whatever. But, you know, it's going to be more like a couplet of pull-ups and push-ups or something like that. So, yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's difficult for when you're trying to program for that for a group, because, you know, there's some people that they need to work on those muscle-ups. They have them. If they want to get better, they have to do them. But, you know, probably the vast majority of most people's gyms, you know, can't do muscle-ups. Right. So, and there's a lot of movements that are like that. And like we were talking about snatch balance earlier, like you probably don't need to have a soccer mom that doesn't know how to deadlift properly do a snatch balance. But, you know, maybe one of your competitors that are trying to get their snatch to go up, they probably need to do it. So how does that work in? And so that's, to me, that's kind of where individualized programming and group programming kind of comes into play.
Yeah.
So is that kind of what?
That's exactly it. And that's why I like putting in the high school gymnastics at the end of workouts. Because even for the people that can't get muscle-ups, they get a ton of work in on muscle-ups. We could tell 4 sets of 5 reps. They're getting 20 muscle-ups in. But the people that can't do muscle-ups, okay, we're doing 4 sets of 10-second chin-up holds.
Yeah.
And they're still getting just as much work done.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen somebody do a chin-up hold, holding a hollow rock position at the same time. That is a tremendous amount of work. And so many people get up there and they have their knees bent, and you're like, hang on a second. Let's straighten those legs out. Let's get that hollow rock position, and all of a sudden you see that pain face. They're going, they're trying to find their power animal just to stay up there for 10 seconds.
The best thing is you know, right after Metcon, you have somebody come in and like, okay, now immediately after this, we're going to do a plank for as long as we possibly can.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't matter. The Metcon could have been like a baby Metcon, but that makes it the worst thing they've ever done in their entire life. Immediately after the workout, we've got this buyout. Yeah, people hate and love that.
No, I love that. And then when it comes to like personalized programming, obviously you just find their holes. But I think what it's been interesting to see, at least from like my own personal experiences, is so many people focus on their weaknesses that they forget their strengths are their strengths. You know, if you're badass at doing short metcons with lightweight, you need to remain a badass doing short metcons at lightweight.
That is true.
And so many people neglect that, and then all of a sudden they just become average at the short metcons with lightweight. And man, when you're really good at something, you better be really good at something, and then just progress. It's the old school pumping iron. I'm about to get meathead on you. Remember pumping iron, old school Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, yeah,
I know we've all watched it in
that's
here.
Awesome.
And he's talking about how he does his bodybuilding. He's like, hey, look at the body as a whole, and it's like clay. I see like my deltoids, they're too small compared to my biceps, so I just add on deltoids. Now I got to keep my biceps where they are, but I just add on the deltoids.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
that's
awesome.
Just the way, and that's the way we are. That's the way it needs to be with CrossFit.
And what's tough about that though is that because there's so many things you have to be good at in CrossFit, is that really the only way to accomplish all that is by just adding volume.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, you can't. I mean, it's if you're only going to put in 6 hours a week of training, you're not going to get everything that you need to be able to fill your holes and be able to, maintain what you already have that you're awesome at. And then that's when it just becomes, like we were talking about, so much more time consuming than anything else. And that's why I think, to me, that's the difference. When people come to me, I ask them what their goals are, and not just what their goals are, like to look better naked or whatever, like what's really important to them. Like, okay, they want to compete. Why do you want to compete? What's inside of you that makes you want to compete? Are you doing it because you want to prove yourself to somebody, or are you doing it because you're doing it for yourself? Because the amount of time and effort that you have to put in is completely different from something, like a group class aspect. And the fitness level is different too, right? Because you're competing at that high level, but it's not necessarily going for health and fitness. Like games competitors are amazing athletes, but they're not necessarily the healthiest and fittest people in the world in the sense of, just feeling great all the time.
Right.
Because, I know I've done a buttload of volume, and I'm not a games or regionals athlete, and just the amount of volume that has to be done to do that, you're always tired. You're always sore. And, you get used to that, and that's part of the training. That's part of the mental aspect of it. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's kind of the same thing? Like it's, the more reps you can do in an open workout, the fitter you are? Or is it not necessarily, health-wise?
No, it's not. The amount of reps that you put up on the board, your score up on the board, does not reflect your fitness at all, in my point of view. It's all about how's your mental, spiritual, emotional, and all those health. That's what fitness is. If you want to do this as a sport, it's totally different. You got to embrace the grind. Yeah. I tell people that in the gym all the time. There's a great Jordan Burroughs YouTube clip that he has this commercial for, and for Cage Fighter, and it's all about embracing the grind. And that's what I just tell my competitors all the time. People want to compete. You have to embrace this. If you don't enjoy the grind, then you don't need to do this for a sport. Yeah. If you want to do this for health and wellness, then the paleo diet, coming in and doing the general programming every day, getting out and going for long walks up the mountain or something like that, long runs on the weekends, that's what's going to, or swims, or just getting out and just being outdoors, that's what's going to make you healthy, and that's what's going to make your life fit. You can't look at people in the games and be like, they're the fittest human beings on earth by our standards, yes, but are they? Because when you look at some of them and you talk about the
fittest,
injuries,
not the healthiest.
the healthiest.
Look at how we talk about eating everything. Nutrition is a huge part of it.
Oh, yeah.
You do not find any games athletes that eat paleo.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
People walk into my gym and they're like, "What do you eat?" And I'm like, "You don't want to know what I eat, because I'm about to make you really mad."
Yeah, exactly. The same thing. I was eating.
Really? You can eat like that and you still look like that? Well,
yeah.
I work out a bit.
You just can't do that. And I tell people all the time, like, for health and longevity, let's just paleo all the way. And this is the steps to do it. And when we got competitive athletes in there doing 2 or 3 days, I'm like, "How much did you eat today?" And they tell me, I'm like, "That's not enough.
No,
go eat more. Here's some peanut butter."
You've got to always be full. Yeah. You got to keep that piece of cheesecake in the fridge at the gym. Yeah.
About 3 years ago, I like everything just fit right in my life where I was able to put more volume in, and it's like, you look, well, what had to fit? Well, shoot, my kids' schedules, my wife's schedule, my work schedules. And it's like, oh, look, I got this window of time where I can actually get 2 a day here. I can get 3 over here. And so I was doing that for a bit. And I'm like, man, I could never sustain this with my life the way because, shortly after things started to change, I'm like, but I was going to go to that. No, you got to pick up Ansley. I mean, what are you going to, she can't get herself home for, oh, yeah. And it's like, wow. And you just realize that commitment and just how much you got to put in and how impossible that really ends up being for a lot of people.
It is. I mean, it's a sacrifice, like we were talking about earlier, man. You got to embrace the grind, embrace the sacrifice, embrace hurting the people closest to you.
Yeah.
You're going to hurt their feelings all the time because you got to go train. I mean, not everybody gets paid like rich to work out all day.
Most people don't.
And the crazy thing about him is, like, he's built up his volume to train where he's at, and a lot of people are like, well, I just got to train like Rich, and they go in there and they do that, and
they hurt themselves.
They realize how bad they hurt themselves. But I mean, he's built that volume up over time,
years now.
and not everybody gets paid like he does to train all day. You know, you got people that open up gyms, but you get here first thing in the morning, 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., and then you're closing the doors at 7:30, 8 p.m. You know, that's what I do now.
Yeah.
And then I still find my time to train in there during the day.
Yeah. And again, you've built it up over time too. One of the greatest explanations that I've heard of it, and I've used this a lot, is that the difference between somebody just trying to do CrossFit for health and fitness and somebody that's trying to be an athlete is the difference between somebody go out and playing two-hand touch with their friends football and somebody trying to play in the NFL, in the sense that, like, going out and playing with your friends, it's good. It's a good sense of community. You get health and fitness out of that. You know, you get your heart rate up. It's safe, things like that. But if you're going to try and play in the NFL, you're probably going to end up with some brain damage. You know, I mean, those guys have look at, broken hips, torn ACLs, and everything, right? They're not fit at all. They're not healthy. They make all that money and they spend a lot of it on their doctor's bills. And to me, any sport at that elite level is like that. So you have to ask yourself, like, is that what I want to be? And is that sacrifice worth it or not? So
yeah, why do you think Kelly Starrett is so popular among games athletes?
Bam. Yeah.
Very good.
It's because we are not feeling good.
There's a need.
I can't remember the last time I woke up in the morning and was like, oh man, I feel great. Just something is always hurting.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But that's why we have guys like Dr. Eric over here to keep us healthy.
Yeah.
Bam. Health Sprouts.
Healthsprouts.com.
Is that what it is?
There's no S at the end. Healthsprout.
Healthsprout.com.
Otherwise, we got it. There it is.
That's almost. Bam. Cool. Well, I think that's a pretty good.
I like it.
Pretty good comparison, between group and individualized, and why it's important and who needs to do what. I mean, is there anything you want to add or anything like that to it?
Just for people that are looking for health and wellness and just to get as fit as you can.
Group classes.
Enjoy the moment in the gym. If you're not enjoying it, then something's going to be taken away from it, and you're not going to be as healthy as you want to be.
Reevaluate your goals.
Reevaluate your goals and see where you're at. Talk to your trainer. Find somebody that knows what's going on, and you just got to make sure this makes you happy. You're not doing it for anybody else but yourself, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And then if you're a competitor, embrace the grind.
That's a good point you just said. Talk to your trainer. I think that's the most important thing, is that open line of communication between you and the person, because even if your trainer isn't the best person in the world, they're going to be able to at least give you an outside perspective about what should probably be happening. And I mean, if you can evaluate your goals, most decent trainers are going to be able to get to you closer to your goals than you could on your own, but they're not going to if they don't know what your goals are, and they're not going to if you don't know what your goals are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we touched on it earlier, something where when you leave that group class, you got to be ready to give up that daily competitive thing for that long-term competitive thing,
that
right?
Sucks.
Because I like that, like, hey, I'm in today and I'm competing today with Andy and I'm competing with so-and-so, right? I got these guys every day. And I've done that before where I pulled myself away from that group and just done my own thing. And I'm like, it's kind of boring that I don't get to compete with everyone today. So that wasn't good for me, but it just shows that I'm not the guy who wants to go out there and become an individualized competitor who's going after something.
Mm-hmm.
It does suck. Do you enjoy training by yourself, or do you have a group of people probably because you guys got the team together?
Man, I still train by myself most of the time, and I don't enjoy it at all.
Yeah,
and I wish I had guys in there that would kick my butt, and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of workouts, and just to keep that drive going. But I'm in there by myself usually. I got a couple of guys that'll make it once or twice a week. They know my training schedule and they'll come in and they want to train. But other than that, though, man, it's just me, myself, and Crash in the gym.
That's typically what it is.
And,
I've got a couple people. We've got some people that do. Oh, we got another one. All right. Well, we lost a little bit of video there or something like that, so we're just going to finish with just the audio. We're probably going to we'll put some pictures of
just
like.
Close your eyes and picture.
We should put
together.
that video. That would be God.
Whatever you're looking at right now, we came up with the idea of you looking at that later.
What? So I think what we're going to do, let's just find those videos of you snatching like your first year of CrossFit.
I can find those. I can try to upload
Give those to
them.
me, and we'll just upload those videos while we're doing this.
Enjoy these videos.
Are you guys seeing that?
If they get to
public.
play.
Look at that triple extension.
Yeah, what triple?
I'm still in complete flexion the whole time. I don't understand.
So man, Brandon, thanks for coming out, man. Is there anything you want to plug before we go?
Yeah, if you're in the Kennesaw area, or if you're ever in Atlanta, you want to come up to the gym and train, just look us up on the internet, CrossFitBound.com. And, if you're interested in training, I do personalized training over the internet, remote coaching. I know we talked about that a little bit. And if you're interested, just email me at brandon@CrossFitBound.com. And just enjoy doing CrossFit and embrace the grind if you're competing. And hopefully we'll see you around some of the Garage Games events coming up.
Rock and roll. Yeah, I guess
except for Garage Games 1, I'll probably be having my baby boy by then.
Still go to it. We'll give updates about Brandon's paternity throughout Garage Games 1.
We'll Skype the birth. Yeah, exactly. Nice.
We'll put it up on the projector just so everybody can do that.
30 foot by 30 foot.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to put it on silent because Jessica will probably not be saying anything that's PG.
This is a family environment there. We got to be careful.
Just do a montage. You put like a Celine Dion song over it or something
we put
like that.
subtitles at the bottom. Yeah. I love Brandon so much.
That's awesome.
So, I guess I'll pimp CrossFitGarage.com, another gym, not really in the competing area of CrossFit Bound, so you can go to either one of them. And then TheGarageGames.com, TheGarageGames.com. So cool. That's it, guys. We will see you next time.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
It's a salad, but it's on a sandwich.
Is there lettuce?
There's spinach in it.
Oh, I see a piece of lettuce on your finger, I think.
Oh, there's lettuce. That's the salad. That's the salad part of it.
You'll be able to hear this.
Yeah. No, not my wife. Not my wife. No. My wife is a saint. She is a saint. What? Yeah. Glenlivet? No, I don't drink Glenlivet. It's Bushmills is the only whiskey I drink. We need to be recording as well.
Nah, it's fine.